Welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio here today. We will discuss more basketball news, mostly departures here lately for the Ole Miss program. Jarkel Joiner jumping into the transfer portal yesterday. Neal assumed that was coming a couple days ago, reported it, and then he did that yesterday. It was like NC State, a very possible option there, right?
I would say that's
a good guess.
Certainly possible that it's NC State.
Okay. So
I didn't just kind of post that on Monday night for kicks and giggles. I
just took a shot. I mean, you know what?
Sort of knew.
It's fine.
I love when people are like, "Oh, this is breaking." I'm like, well, I mean,
sure.
I guess. Just whatever.
So talk about that.
Again, we're back to that thing: is if you don't report it on Twitter, did you report it? And then when people go, well, Twitter is not really representative of the real world, which is, thank God, true, I think. It's an interesting dynamic.
So, we'll talk about that. Ole Miss beats Murray State 8-2 in baseball. I think it was 8-2. 8-2 in baseball yesterday. We'll talk about a couple interesting comments around the Texas program, but more just about college football in general. I want to spin that out into a different thing. What we got?
If you live in the Oxford City School District, or whatever we call it here, the schools are dismissing early today. You should know that. Bramlett Central and Della Davidson dismissing at 12:20. Oxford Intermediate, Oxford Middle, and Oxford High dismissing at 1:15 because of weather.
Yes.
I get sick of these damn weather days, I'll tell you that. They make me nervous. I hate them.
We have more dismissals, right?
Yeah, this is the right thing, though. You don't want people driving around in it.
I guess I guess you have to make them early, and we're erring on the side of caution, which I'm not upset about. But I feel like we've hit a new level of dismissals and number of. We used to not do it this much. I do feel like it's more for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Not really bad, good, anything. Just noticing it a lot more. Because frankly, a lot of times we're doing them better safe than sorry, but then nothing happens, and we go, okay, well, awesome. So I don't know. I feel bad for parents because it throws your entire day into a mess that is, for a lot of people, not salvageable.
But you don't want people sitting in carpool lines in the middle of a tornado,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But you got a lot of people today scrambling, going, they have no option for their kids, and I don't know what you do about that. So, anyway, that more coming up on the show. The Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Lunch specials, $5.69, 2 sides bread, 32-ounce drinks. Also still trying to give you $10 free. Do that by downloading the Exxon mobile app, taking a picture of the QR code right there at the pump when you fill up. That's 1,000 bonus points. 1,000 bonus points equals $10 with the Oxford Exxon and all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for my buddy Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. There's no hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. Get great service, great product, all that stuff at Clark Ford. And then guest, I should say this. I'm sorry, my mind is like on 6 things right now. Guest join on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. We're coming up next weekend for Double Decker and baseball and Grove Bowl and all the other stuff. Stop by Rafters, have a burger, a po' boy, grab a beer, an appetizer, full bar. Great place to hang out. Lots of space, lots of TVs, all that stuff. Rafters on the Square in Oxford, also Rafters in New Albany.
Yes, I think I saw it on Twitter. Maybe we did speak it into existence as Tennessee baseball losing last night to Tennessee Tech 3-2 with the wood bats. They only had a few hits and got beat by I don't even remember, what was Tennessee Tech with the Eagles. Is that right?
Tennessee Tech. I don't know.
I mean, you would think I would remember that, but I don't.
Ethan Roberts pitched yesterday for the Cubs. Pitched well. Yeah, he did.
I did enjoy the message board post after Tennessee lost to them for someone to say, "Oh wow, I'm shocked that came completely out of right field." And I went, "You know what? That was good. That was good. I was very, very impressed by that." So, yeah. They use wood bats as just a gimmick game. They were playing at the Smoky Stadium. Both teams decided to use wood bats and do that.
It is amazing how that changes
almost in a shocking way, because technologically they'll tell you that the bats now are very similar to wood.
Unless you're fixing the bats.
Well, but I guess my point, does that mean everybody's fixing the bats?
I'll say this. I don't think Tennessee's alone.
Well, no. I mean, look.
I mean, I don't. If you told me, hey, do you think more than half shave their bats? Yes.
Yeah, and I'm not focused on that. We're going to move on. But I was talking to somebody last night in college baseball. We were discussing Vanderbilt, as you knew, firmly believing in their hearts that something was odd that weekend.
Yes.
And the way Vitello reacted. A lot of coaches walk out there and go, okay, so what's going on? Okay, like what's the deal? Explain it to me. What happened? Hey, okay, fine, like whatever.
Yeah.
He wanted that bat.
Yes.
He needed that bat.
Yes.
It was, hey.
Well, you know, Chris Lee wrote a story about it, and nobody picks it up. Nobody wants to touch it. Nobody wants to talk. In all fairness, Chris Lee does a thorough story on that, and no one in anything resembling mainstream media touches it.
There's two reasons. One, there's no results, and there's nothing the NCAA is actually doing. They all just kind of throw up their hands and go, yeah, if you do it, there's not really a penalty.
Yeah, but people, you're right.
And two, it's the world we're in with media. Chris is a Vanderbilt guy. You're pissed off.
Right. And the truth
That's a lot of it.
But the truth is, Chris did really strong journalism on that story.
Yeah.
They did really strong journalism in that story. And you're right, journalism has become so tribalistic. Sports, news, politics, you name it, that nobody wants to touch it. Because if you touch it and you're on the Tennessee beat and you ask questions, well, all of a sudden you're a bad guy. And the fans turn on you and they want to cancel and all that crap. It's a good story.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee believed and knew that something was up. The bat in question was confiscated. It was checked, and it failed the test.
400 PSI short.
It failed the test with representatives of both schools in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happened. The league doesn't want to touch it. The NCAA is like, it's just an honor code. Okay, so in other words, cheat. And then everybody goes, they're cheating. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, if you told me that, hey, you don't have to pay your taxes, nothing's going to happen. We want you to pay your taxes, but if you don't pay your taxes, nothing's going to happen. I'm not paying my damn taxes. Are you? If I tell you, hey, man, I know you owe $7,000 this quarter, but if you don't pay it, nothing's going to happen. Are you going to do anything?
Yeah, it's all good.
You're going to be like, screw it. Roll with it. Here's a check for $12. It's kind of like when you were bartending. When I was bartending, you were supposed to turn in your tips. This was back before credit was constant.
Yeah, sure.
You were supposed to turn in your tips, claim your tips at the end of the night. You'd make $300 in tips, and you'd claim 11.
Yeah.
Who's going to do anything about it?
Jack said, explain the 400 PSI thing. Essentially, I guess they measure it by 100, but every 100 PSI short of regulation is an extra trampoline effect or an extra amount of distance in a set environment. So 400 is pretty substantial. That's actually a very noticeable amount of distance
increase.
It's
why when they hit something that looked like it would have been a fairly deep fly ball, it went out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
Yeah.
The bat was juiced.
Yeah. So, but yes, last night they lose 3-2. They're now, I don't know, 31-2.
I mean, whatever. Like, but the bigger story, and I mean, I think it's one game, and one game is in baseball too small of a sample size to do anything with, other than to note that it's one game. Sure. But it is interesting that all of a sudden they can't hit, the ball doesn't go anywhere. I mean, that's the thing. And if you read Chris's story, the interesting thing, if you get past the whole Vanderbilt Tennessee rivalry crap, the guys who are doing this at Tennessee this year are guys who've been in the league for a while and never done this before. Now, is it possible that they all just significantly improved? Sure, I guess. It's not exactly my life experience, but sure. Is it possible that pitching is just so down this year that it leads to significantly better numbers? Sure, yes.
Yeah, sure.
Is it also possible that they're cheating?
And I do think that plays into it. But
sure, but is it also possible that they're cheating? Yes. And if they're doing it, they're not the only team doing it.
Sure.
And if Vanderbilt picked up on it by watching the Ole Miss series, then Vanderbilt knew what they were looking for, knew what they were listening for. I mean, there's another part of that story that's not out yet, but it probably will never come out, but Vanderbilt knew what it was smelling for.
We'll see. I don't even know who Tennessee plays this weekend, but they are 12-0 in the SEC. From an Ole Miss standpoint, yesterday, look, you beat Murray State 8-2, Kids Day game. No kids got harmed. Ole Miss was fine. A little dicey there for a while. Drew McDaniel pitched well. I think he allowed 2 hits in 5 innings, something like that. Had a no-hitter into the 5th, if I have that right. It was much more evidence yesterday from me, or to me, Bama, Mark says. So much more evidence of McDaniel and a lot of his issues being mental is that the stuff is good. I mean, he was a top 50 prospect out of high school for a reason. And I feel like if he believes and he gets off to a good early start and believes he's better than the opponent, his stuff is better, mentally he's better, he stays more locked in. There's something in the SEC, he just can't get to that same mental place. And how do you turn a Tuesday into a weekend and all those different things? I don't know. But it was almost kind of startling yesterday watching him going, that's a different guy than I know it was Murray State, but I'm talking about just the way the stuff looked. Completely different than when he has pitched on the weekends. The other main story coming out yesterday, Max Chofie getting back on the mound for the first time in a year from Tommy John surgery. Gives Ole Miss a piece that at least he has 39 career appearances. He has a .222 opposing batting average for his career. Velocity was a touchdown. Max is typically 90, 91, and he was 86 to 88. So, I mean, he's coming back from an injury. That is what it is.
Typically takes 15 months to get your velocity back. Right.
I think the breaking ball was as good or better than I have seen it. He was fine there, and I think he can get outs. Now, look, is he going to become some huge piece where he's changing the entire season? Probably not, but I do think it was a big deal to get him back, get his mentality back. And frankly, we talk about this. Ole Miss, Max is an incredibly nice kid, but we talk about guys with a little more competitive fire, guys are a little more vocal. Ole Miss not having that, I think it's a problem. I mean, we called it assholes, but even beyond that, just people who can kind of get people going. Max is sort of one of those guys, and it's a completely different thing when you are on the field at times versus not. That's a changing leadership dynamic of, no, I'm actually in this thing. Sure. I'm with you. So we'll see if that helps at all. But getting him back, good kid. He came back for his 5th year to do this, to recover. Something that would have been pretty easy to get on with your life. You've graduated and go, no, I'm going to rehab. I'm going to get a master's. I'm going to stick through this for frankly, has another year of eligibility if he wants it. But through a year there. So that got a couple people asking me, Dylan DeLucia, Taiwan Malone were in shorts yesterday. They are not injured. They were late to the field and held out as punishment. So that was that. In a game that Ty might have gotten in a bat, and I don't think Dylan would have pitched, but nonetheless, I mean, I don't think you're harming a potential weekend starter by him not dressing on Tuesday, but it's fine. T.J. McCants didn't play. To the best of my knowledge, he is not hurt. It was just still a little bit of doghouse after what happened over the weekend with T.J. So,
you asked SEC schedule this weekend.
Yeah,
Texas A&M at Georgia.
Okay.
Alabama at Tennessee. LSU is at Arkansas. Florida at Vanderbilt. That'd be a good series. Ole Miss at South Carolina. Kentucky at Missouri. And Auburn heads to Starkville to play Mississippi State.
Okay.
That's your weekend. A&M Georgia's interesting. Alabama Tennessee is. I mean, if Alabama could win a game, they'd feel pretty good about it. LSU Arkansas probably decides who wins the West at this point. Florida played really well last weekend against Arkansas. They get a chance to stay hot against Vanderbilt, who needs to start winning games. Ole Miss and South Carolina are both 4-8. Someone's got to start. I mean, they're both in trouble right now. Kentucky, Missouri is just what it is, and then, I mean, Auburn's starting to make a little noise.
Georgia completely their season completely getting changed. It looked like Jonathan Cannon is potentially out for a while. Their ace. It's just it in the SEC. The SEC is literally down like 10 pitchers right now. We can talk about why and how, and I don't know. I mean, there's several different potential reasons, but Cannon injured his I think they're calling it a forearm during his bullpen on Tuesday.
Oof.
I think he is being held out this weekend. And
there aren't many worse words
forearm.
In the pitching vernacular, then, hey, I felt something in my forearm.
So, he is Georgia's 4th starting pitcher to suffer an injury this season. Their number 3 and number 4 pitchers.
So what do you attribute that to? I mean, it's a number of things, right? It starts with the travel ball when they're kids, and then it just builds up.
It's that the 2020 season getting killed has impacted so many things with college baseball that are kind of silent and not getting talked about. It is so much development time lost with conference seasons, kids throwing. Summer leagues were canceled. These kids who were throwing nonstop, frankly, at that point needed to keep throwing.
And they stopped throwing.
Suddenly they stopped throwing for months. Then you come back and you try to go 100. Like it is wrecked arms. The 2020 season, to me, is the main factor of just arms getting wrecked. Because look, you look around the league, and look, Ole Miss is – I'm not justifying Ole Miss's pitching situation. But you look around the league, people aren't going 7 innings, 8 innings. You're just not getting the longevity and depth out of starts that we were getting even last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Well, and if you watch – and I can't believe that I'm the guy that's going to be the guy that says this, and I watch it. If you watch a lot of SEC baseball, and I have this year, I've watched everybody. Watch starters get into the 4th inning and they lose their velocity. It's the damnedest thing.
Mm-hmm. No, the 2020 season is what I put a lot of that on because a lot of the guys that were still aces last year had been around in 19. They were the third-year guys. But this year, these third-year guys, they had 20 and then 21. Like it's or even the younger kids, they missed a year of high school. They missed a complete high school season where they definitely weren't throwing correctly for a while. Like it's going to be a. James says I'm way off that rest has never wrecked an arm. But when you gear back up and you lose development, you lose the ability to sustain what you're doing.
And a lot of them worked on their own.
Yeah.
And overthrew, I'm guessing. I don't know. Look, it's almost like you look around the league and how many teams have multiple guys out for the year with arm injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Not just one guy, everybody. I mean, how many teams have now lost their ace? Half the league?
Yeah.
I mean, at first it's like, oh, well, that's going to help our team. No, you don't need to look at it that way. I mean, you look at all of these kids getting hurt, and it's.
And if I'm way off, and that has nothing to do with it, nothing else has changed. Like, there's no other drastic change other than something related to 2020. Because, I mean, sure, we always have injuries, you always have things, but you don't have these 3 or 4 steps that all factor in at the same time coming off 2020. Like, I don't know. There's no other determining thing that has made a huge difference in the last 3 to 4 years. Unless, I mean, you're just running through absolutely the unluckiest run, but still, why? Because it's not affecting one program, it's affecting every program.
Yeah. It sucks for the kid because it's April. I mean,
it throws everything.
It really sucks for the kid.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Like if you're going to do it, I'd rather it happen like it did for there's a couple of them that got hurt before the season started.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the kid at State, the kid at Arkansas, I'd rather it happen early where at least by the time the draft rolls around,
you're
5-6 months into it. Yeah.
Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Seto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis, so you can local underwriting and understand your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
Go to deadsoxy.com, enter the promo code Rebel Grove, get 25% off the best socks that you'll ever put on your feet. It's deadsoxy.com. Game Changer patches are the only 2-patch system available in the market to stop hangovers before they start. Warm-up patches used before while you drink. Overtime patch used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. The all-natural ingredients will keep you in the game. Ready for the next place? Go to GameChangerPatch.com. Promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase. ACS is owned by my buddy Clay McNutt in Baldwin, Mississippi. It's a complete electrical control system solution provider and a Rockwell Automation recognized system integrator. They've got a full-time dedicated emergency service and troubleshooting staff and a UL 508 panel shop. ACS can service and install Rockwell Automation, Allen Bradley, Siemens, ABB, Square D, many other manufacturers. For more information or to get in touch with ACS, go to acsllcms.com or call 662-601-4381. Brought to you by Lammon's Fine Jewelry. Lammon's at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford has been serving the Oxford area for almost 3/4 of a century. engagement rings, wedding rings, fine jewelry, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more. Lamans is the gold standard in fine jewelry, so visit them at lamansfinejewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777. Planning to tape, I guess weather permitting, the inaugural edition of the Troy Brown Show this afternoon. It's brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, different names, but the same great products, same great services, same people. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, you need to call Comer at 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, you want to get in touch with the people at Southern, 662-429-4429.
Podcast is brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area and offer MedSeat for your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. I got a delivery yesterday. What I needed, to have to do anything, I'm going to pick it up off my porch. So let them be your pharmacy here in the Oxford area. They'll take care of you again. That's G&M on South Lamar, 662-236-2222. You know, I don't necessarily I'm not really blaming Scott Strickland here, but what's interesting is every time there's a forearm strain, we all know what it is, and every head coach downplays it until it is the MRI comes. And I get it in a way, but, like, we're just word salading at this point. Like, and sometimes it is an actual forearm strain. Derek Diamond had one. I mean, do I think he still has something going on? Probably, but he has not blown his elbow out 2 years ago and is still pitching through it, obviously. So it does happen, but like I'm reading here from Strickland, it was a little gloomy on Wednesday as we're waiting to get the news back because your mind always goes to a negative spot. You go there, and we got the call last night that it was good news as far as that goes, and it wasn't anything bad or anything we have to do with now. It's just resting and getting him back. But they call it a forearm strain in the right muscle. Like, okay, but pitchers don't just strain that constantly without some other. You're straining your forearm because you're compensating because of an elbow issue.
Well, this is my other question. Down your arm. Is it possible that the obsession with spin rates and such have people changing their throwing mechanics in such a way that it's leading to injuries? I'm just asking. It's a hypothesis. I have no idea.
I mean, we're throwing harder and harder and harder and harder. And at some point, your body is not built for that. Baseball, the way we throw baseballs, because not fast pitch, obviously, it's not even a normal motion. I mean, you're putting constant stress on your shoulder and your elbow. I mean, every one of these players, we talk about, they had a really clean arm MRI. No, they didn't. Every pitcher at this level and above has all kind of crap going in there. It's just not at a point of affecting performance or needing an operation at the moment.
Right.
There's damage in every MRI of every college player and professional player. So, yeah, 100%. I mean, at some point, it is not. We're getting stronger. We're getting more flexible. We're pushing it to the limits, but the limit is still the limit at some point.
I'm not trying to be the old man in the yard. I think you know me a little better than that. I'm not hip necessarily, but I'm certainly not that guy. I do wonder if the game has become as analytic as it has become, and baseball has become really analytical. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. It's trickled down into all elements.
Everything is launch angle and swing angle and stuff. I wonder whether there's so much focus for young guys, right? They go to drive line or whatever it's called, and there's so much focus on spin rate and velocity and all of those things that if you go back and watch just the 70s and 80s baseball, the game looks totally different. And a lot of it is because I think there was not as much emphasis on that stuff. And I just can't help but wonder whether the guy constantly trying to throw as hard as possible and constantly trying to put as much torque on the ball as possible, whether that's leading to injuries in the elbow and shoulder. And I could be completely
It's not
wrong.
Just fastballs. It's also breaking balls.
That's what I'm saying. Sliders.
They go see Rapsodo, even Ole Miss. They bring in that pitching lab from Wake Forest or wherever it is. And what that thing does is it shows you, given your mechanics, what the corresponding off-speed pitches should be, that, hey, if you went to a slider, you can tunnel that better and you can do these things. It builds your entire repertoire and tells you, okay, that's what makes the most sense. Well, what we're seeing, and Ole Miss is a great example, because outside of a couple guys, and maybe like one or two, they're all the same dude. They're all right-handers throwing in the 90s with a slider. I mean, Ole Miss doesn't have a lot of variance in the way, and I think it's a problem. I think if you had some thumbers and you had some different things, it would play differently. But point being, you got a guy, Gunnar Hoagland, and I'm not saying this messed up Hoagland's arm. I'm saying he was hurt when he got to Ole Miss.
Sure.
But he was fastball, curveball, had a decent curveball that could get better. No. If you had a slider that was really hard, well, suddenly you got a kid in a really competitive environment trying to throw the shit out of a slider. Mm-hmm. Well, now we're getting into pronation and we're getting to a lot of things where
I know.
Contributing factor.
I know.
Not primary factor probably, but
and then you start doing it to a 14-year-old. Hey,
I know you're a recruit, but hey, what if you threw the slider?
Bingo. That's what I'm saying.
You just move the ball back in your hand a little bit.
Yeah. And hey, we're going to play every single weekend from February through August. Might play 2 games, might play 7 if we get in the winner's bracket. And we're going to practice 3 days a week, too. How old are you, 14? No big deal. Hey, they're getting offers now.
Mm-hmm. No.
I mean, it's a hypothesis, but you can tell which side of the hypothesis I believe in.
Yeah. So anyway, Jonathan Cannon from Georgia, he's at least out this weekend.
That sucks for him.
They play. I don't know who they play.
I do legitimately hate when the kids get hurt. I mean, it's
in his last appearance, he went 8 innings and shut out Mississippi State.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean,
he's good.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of sympathy for the whole Georgia part of it and the coaching staff and whatnot. I do feel terrible for the kid.
Well, I mean, Strickland's on a little bit of a timetable, and then you lose 3 starters, and suddenly you're pushing guys, and
suddenly that's part of your job evaluation.
Yeah. So, all right, moving sports. Jarkel Joiner jumping into the transfer portal, as we mentioned in the open. It's been coming for a couple days. He does it yesterday. Rebels now with a lot of dudes in the portal. I mean, from a standpoint of guys who contributed last year, you're talking about Crowley and Joiner and Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I forgetting?
I mean, those are the main ones. Austin's at Southern Miss. It looks like Luis.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It looks like Luis and Jarkel will both end up at NC State.
Oh, both of them.
Sammy Hunter committed to Akron yesterday.
Okay.
Good for Sammy. I know he wanted to go to Florida, but Akron's close to Florida. Sorry. Who else is gone? Eric Vanderheiden is at Western Carolina.
I believe that's correct.
I think that's right. No. UNC Wilmington.
That's right. Yes.
He's at UNC Wilmington.
That is correct. Yes.
To my knowledge, Grant Slatton hasn't latched on with anyone yet.
Okay.
They've added the one
kid from Jackson State.
The kid from Jackson State in the portal. So far, that's.
I thought that was an interesting comment in the thing from Kermit.
The Mississippi-made part.
Well, that wasn't good, but no, that you acknowledge in the quote that he is not a good facing the basketball player. I thought that was interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's going to continue to get better there. And again, it's a PR statement, but I just thought even mentioning it was an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Look, it's the problem. I mean, we come back to it. It's what was malignant about the press release is that you have Kermit on record saying, hey, it's a tournament team. If we don't get injured, then you run off the whole team.
Right.
And I get they didn't want Jarkel to leave. I mean, he mentioned in his closing press conference, we've got Jarkel back next year.
Yes, I saw someone try to intimate somewhere, and I can't remember where, that this was an Ole Miss orient. No, this was not. This was.
He has said multiple times that he was trying to keep Jarkel, and he was a piece to this coming season. So you have that going on. You had the whole, hey, we took too many last year with 4, you took 4 this year. I just don't see a path.
I don't no. I don't even know what the situation is with James White right now. Is he back? I guess he's back. So you're going to have he and I'm assuming here that Ruffin's back. But here's the bigger problem right now. You have 2. There's a mailbag question that I have. It's hey, are there any rumblings on staff? And look, it's possible that this is because I'm just a horrible reporter. I mean, that's for other people to judge. It's possible because I'm just simply not doing my job well. I've not heard one name. And I knew about Jarkel last week. I was told, hey, Monday's the day to watch, and sure enough, it was. Levi's gone. Levi Watkins is gone. NC State. Ronnie Hamilton's gone to LSU.
Correct.
I don't think they were aware that either one of those things were in the pipeline when it happened. And so that happened on the Friday before the Final Four. So the championship was a week ago Monday. So it's been 12 days-ish. I'm not great with math. I think that's right. 12 days, and there's no new coach. I haven't heard any rumblings of who it would be, and this is kind of portal time. You need to be bringing guys in for visits right now. You need to be getting this done this weekend, next weekend. So their roster is, as of this moment.
I'm pulling it up right now so we get it right. I was doing that. Ruffin, Brakefield, White, Morrell, Fagan, Allen.
So that's 6.
That's it.
And then
Joiner is still technically on the roster.
And then the 4 kids coming in.
10.
And then the 1 kid from Jackson State.
11.
So they got 2 transfer portal spots. And that's his other problem.
Assuming all these guys are scholarship, and they are. So.
Yeah. I mean, the other problem that he's got from a perception standpoint is the press conference after the loss to Missouri in Tampa, where he said, we're going to attack the transfer portal harder than anyone in America, or something along those lines. And that hasn't come to fruition. And you look around the league.
It seems logistically impossible, if we're honest.
Yeah. The kid from Northern Iowa, Noah Carter, Missouri yesterday. LSU's had some success in the portal.
They had offered a couple kids they thought they had a shot at, and they got much bigger offers. Like Kansas offered one of their targets yesterday. I mean, there's been some different.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a tough spot. I'm big about words. Mm-hmm. You know that. I'm a believer that when you put press releases out, think about the world we work in. Mm-hmm. Okay. You have sources, and I have sources who will never text back. I can text them. They'll call me.
Yeah, sure.
Why? Because the word written sticks forever. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have people who I can text and go, hey, here's a question.
Oh, I will get cussed occasionally for texting certain things to people. Go, hey, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, I will text a question, and then here comes the phone call.
Yeah.
And that's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
We're going to talk.
Yeah.
Cool, I get it. So when you put a press release out, and you've had plenty of time to think about what's going to be in that press release, you should look at every word. And sometimes it's maddening to me. I look at it and think, what are you doing?
Well, they're attempting to put forward this like real optimistic tone, but it's all words that come back to get you later.
But we're back to hand raise, guy. Yeah. Here's what's going to happen. This is going to get torn apart. The words Mississippi made in that press release yesterday were you just don't put that in there. What does that even mean? I mean, what the hell does that even mean? No one cares.
No, they don't care if he's from the moon if he can play.
I mean, when you were watching the national championship game the other night, did you go, oh, yeah, well, kid's Kansas made. He was born and raised right there in Russell or Topeka or wherever the hell. No, just wearing the uniform, man. North Carolina made. I didn't hear that. So stop saying it. They just want you to get players. Nobody at Ole Miss cares where the players are from. Not really. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody that does. That's hyperbolic, but most people don't.
Amari, that's a signee. Okay, gotcha.
Who?
I was on the Instagram page. They had the quote about another kid, but it's an incoming kid. For anybody asking, JB has had a fantastic career at Jackson State. He's an elite-level athlete. He was second in the nation in rebounding 2 years ago, and against us 2 seasons ago, he had 12 points, 12 boards, and 3 blocks. I think Jay will continue to make great strides facing up and shooting the ball. He comes from a great family, and he is truly Mississippi-made. That was the quote for anybody that hadn't heard it.
Kyle Wilson, thanks for the super chat. He says, any advice for helping out a 5-year-old with storm anxiety? No.
Ooh.
I mean, no, not really. Just it's going to be okay.
If it's really loud and you're worried about thunder, headphones. If you have some stadium headphones, that'll help. Because, I mean, I deal with some sensory issues. Be really communicating about what's actually going on, that it's okay. safety. I mean, I know it's an obvious thing, but sometimes that extra sentence or two does help.
And tell them, hey, look, if it happens to be really bad, here's what we're going to do. We have a plan.
Yeah. Here's worst case. We're good.
Yeah, this is the worst thing, and if the worst thing happens, this is what we're going to do. We're going to be okay. And make sure that he or she has his or her favorite toy or whatnot, and try to minimize and hope it's just a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
I get it, though.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. And then, the question, you talked about a path. Is there a path?
Well, this is my point. I mean, at the end of the day, they have to play a season. And, I mean, and again, I'm not trying to be overly negative here, but the problem is I'm having a hard time getting to
15 in the league. I mean,
I'm having a hard time getting to a point where people are at all invested.
Right.
Forget tournament. Just in general, people showing up, being even this season level of excited and going, hey, look, it's Tuesday at 6. Do you want to just hang in and eat dinner and whatever, or do you want to go to the basketball game? Not talking about the local people. I'm not talking about Jackson or Memphis or Madison or anything like that. Just because, frankly, it's happening in baseball a little bit, and it's not even in the same stratosphere of what basketball could look like. I mean, and I get Kermit did not anticipate what has happened, but at the end of the day, it did. I mean, I don't know. He did not anticipate losing 2 assistants.
No.
Did not. I mean, he gave quotes 2 days before that there would not be staff changes.
Right.
And I get that was from his side, but still, point stands.
Look, I wrote this a few times in the end of the regular season. I think I made people mad, but I think I was right. There was an atmosphere in that arena that was palpable. And it made me, and I remember writing that, I think it was after they lost to Texas A&M, that they were going to have to address this, I thought. And I think they did. But here we are. When was that game? That was March the whatever.
It's the second to last Saturday of the season.
It's been a month.
Yeah.
And it's, I think from a perception standpoint, whether accurate or not, and I suspect it's accurate, they're worse off today than they were the night that they lost to Missouri and Tampa.
That's true, yeah.
And I don't know that you could say that for the rest of the league. If you go around the league and you look at what you compete against, and
everybody seems at least net neutral.
And that's the thing about playing in a conference is it's no ambiguity about who are we competing against. You know exactly who you are competing against. There's the other 13 teams.
But, it's even beyond that. I mean, it's just, hey, we've got to be better ourselves this year than next year. I mean, it's almost kind of like, hey, I'm running the marathon, but I'm not even worried about beating that guy right now. I just need to run a better time than last year.
Sure.
And right now, they're not on pace to be better than last year.
No.
To me, that's actually the more startling thing of, hey, we're not catching Arkansas. What the hell with that right now?
Right.
Are you better with the roster you have next year than this year? Period. Yes or no? And right now, again, portal's still alive, whatever. Okay, blah, blah, blah. But right now, that's hard to say.
But now, like, Robert Allen's role looks even bigger than it was a year ago. And Robert Allen suffered a serious knee
injury.
How
close is Allen to having the same skill set as the Jackson State guy? Are they the same dude?
Right. And you're saying, okay, we need Jamin Brakefield to make a giant step. Okay, well, what if he doesn't? And Deshaun got hurt. The end. It was an ACL. He should be okay, but
sure.
What if he's a little slow to get back? Mm-hmm. It's happened before with Ole Miss athletes.
Sure.
You need Matt to take the next step, and I think Matt's capable of taking the next step. But you don't want Matt thinking, "Hey, I've got to score 30 a night."
Yeah.
And then you go into you're counting on these 4 kids to come in? The 4 kids last year, only one of them played. Only one of them contributed. Ruffin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we could argue semantics about James White's contributions, but let's be serious.
Yeah, sure.
Let's be real.
Yeah, sure.
There's just a lot there, and I mean, someone asked in the thread, and it's a great question, and I think you just mentioned it. What does attendance look like in November, in December, and then what if you don't? I mean, it's the part of it. I'm not advocating for someone making a change. I'm not. That's not my job. I would have said, hey, we've got to address this aggressively.
Anyway, the news is Joiner's in the portal.
And then I will say 2 things, and I feel strongly about this. I don't know how anyone can watch the NCAA tournament on television. and say our goal as an SEC Power 5 program is anything short of we've got to make that tournament. We've got to be involved in that tournament. The tournament's too big. In college athletics, it's the only thing that truly registers on the national scale outside of football. The tournament, not the sport, the tournament. And then the other thing is when people go, well, I don't know that you could ever find anybody to take that job. You're paying $3 million a year. Of course you could. Now you've got to make a commitment to it. And in fairness, this is the part that's in total fairness to Kermit. The commitment level at the and I don't mean salaries. I mean NIL. I mean all of this stuff. It's got to change, or you're not going to get there.
And they don't have money right now for it.
No.
To take those level of steps.
No, it's
and it's even beyond. I mean, it's making the tournament. Don't get me wrong, but frankly, it's you. Even in your most of your other years, you got to at least be on the bubble or around, which keeps fan engagement up.
Sure.
Hey, let's go to the thing because hey, if they win on Wednesday, well, then they just got to do this, and you start playing that game in your head.
Sure. Well, we've done that for years.
Yeah. When you don't have even that, then it goes, well, what am I doing?
So, well, yeah. Well, the game's in late January. Late January, it was over.
Yeah.
And everyone knew it. I mean, I think it was Arkansas that came to town. I don't remember exactly when that was, but it was January because it was before Ruffin's injury.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Arkansas won by 9 points, I think. It was.
Yeah, they played okay.
It was a 6 o'clock Tuesday game, I think, maybe a Wednesday. Regardless, it tipped at 6. And it was empty. It was dead. And that's not what you can't have that. You're exactly right. You've got to have a product that at least has hope attached to it. Hey, if we win this game and maybe so-and-so loses, we're going to be in the next 4. We're going to hey, did you see where Jerry Palm or Joe Lenardi or whoever has us in the next 4? Hey, we're first 4 out. So if we beat Vanderbilt Saturday, you need that. From at least a fan involvement standpoint, getting people into the arena, people excited, stuff like that, that matters. People talking about you where you're relevant. And then if you ever have the year where you break through and you make the tournament and you're a tournament team and you look around the league at the teams that were in the tournament this year, Tennessee and Arkansas and Auburn especially, and the atmosphere, the energy in that building, you can't tell me that's not good for the university as a whole.
Oh, sure.
You can't tell me that Auburn did not benefit from the way that basketball games looked on Auburn University did not benefit from the way that basketball games looked on television.
100%. It's very indicative. Sure.
I mean, when you kids come on visits and you can feel an energy around a place, people feel that. It's so there's stuff going on, and it's and I don't mean just athletics. I mean academic visits. Kids take visits to campuses and they're trying to feel something or looking for something, and hey, there's a basketball game on campus. You can't get a ticket but you walk on campus and there's kids at Auburn sleeping in tents outside the arena on Friday night. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's an energy to that I believe is palpable, and I think the opposite is palpable as well.
Podcast brought to you by Northeast Spark, service people across rural communities. 2 packages: the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that I've got at home and here in the studio as well. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com, 662-238-3159. Phone service, parental controls, network security, and much more. And also in Pontotoc, areas of Pontotoc and Union counties as well. So again, nespark.com, 662-238-3159.
College Corner is your one-stop Rebel Shop. 2 locations in the Jackson area, 1 in Flowood, 1 in Ridgeland. You can also go to collegecornerstore.com. And you can find them on Facebook and Instagram at College Corner. So the largest selection of Rebel gear in Central Mississippi. We're brought to you by Pinnacle, based in Madison, Mississippi. Clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states. Martin Palomo and I will tape a Mind on My Money tomorrow. A lot of things to talk about involving money and markets and stuff like that. So you want to make sure you listen to that. It's brought to you by Pinnacle, mypinwealth.com. John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated is the guy to go to if you want to make your trip a special one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. Just give him a call, give him an email, give him some parameters and a budget, and he'll give you options. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. Brought to you by Opa, Oxford's newest restaurant on the square. Gyros, wraps, kebabs, redfish, lamb chops, handcrafted cocktails, frozen libations, an amazing candlelit patio, and more. All of that at 306 South Lamar, just south of the Square Courthouse in Oxford. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, highly recommend Grenada Nissan, just off Interstate 55 in Grenada, Mississippi. Grenada Nissan has a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. I will have a mailbag up later today, at least that's the plan. I'm a little behind, but we'll get it there. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Whitney sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. You can reach her at 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844.
Podcast brought to you by Prime Shrimp, primeshrimp.com. It is shipped straight to your door. It is from freezer to plate in less than 10 minutes for restaurant quality shrimp. 4 different offerings. You've got the signature, kind of a garlic flavor, as well as the French Quarter Alfredo, poured over pasta, veggies, whatever you would like with that. Garlic herb butter, same exact thing. And then the Louisiana shrimp boil for a little more spicy option if that is something that you would what you would prefer. So $20 off your first order with MPW. That's primeshrimp.com. Give them a call, set it online, and get Prime Shrimp straight to your door. Again, that's primeshrimp.com. So I thought it was interesting a couple of ways. I mean, Neal and I were talking about it right before we started the show, and we're not experts on the Texas program, so it's hard to say the fact or fiction elements of these quotes. But I still found some of it sort of interesting. So, Ojomo, what position is this person?
Moro Ojomo.
Okay.
For some reason, I think he's a linebacker, but I'm not sure that the position he plays is particularly relevant at this point. But
You don't think so?
I think that's what he plays. Moro Ojomo.
He is a defensive lineman.
Defensive lineman. I was close.
Defense. It's front 7.
Had him in the right room.
I mean,
yeah.
He is a 6'3", 279-pound senior from Katy, Texas.
So probably not a linebacker.
He is a business finance major.
Good for him. Where's he from, Katy?
He's from Katy.
Yeah, I got family in Katy.
That's correct.
Yeah.
He's played in 38 career games, made 25 starts.
Nice.
Point being, he's a
been in the program.
Yeah, it's a dude that's been around the program.
Not a dude who jumped in from the portal.
No. He's a Longhorn.
Yeah.
I mean, he's played. He's apparently a pretty bright dude.
Yeah, sure.
And I think that is relevant.
Absolutely.
Somebody who's been around and going, you know what? I've seen a lot of shit. Because he has at Texas. He's seen a lot of mediocre stuff over the course of his 4 or 5 years.
Well, I mean, his quote is an interesting quote.
So he says this quote, and I don't know the question. But
the question was, he was asked if young players on the team listen to veterans, listen to the older guys.
And his answer, quote, I mean, it's hard. They're 18 to 22-year-olds that want to chase women, want to chase money, want to chase alcohol, and they don't see the future. They're very distracted by what's in front of them. Such a hard thing, especially guys that haven't been in a winning culture. That's why it's very easy for a lot of these powerhouses to keep going because it's established. So the new guys just come in and they're like, oh, shit, this is how we have to do it. This is what we do. It's so much more difficult at Texas. They always talk about coming here and changing stuff, It's ingrained. You're uprooting 10 years of shit, and it's been let go and go by. They're more worried about being on 6th Street than balling and making $50 million. It's crazy as hell, and I don't know why. So then he gives that quote. Somebody asked Steve Sarkisian about it at his press conference. Sark laughed and then was quoted as saying, he will not be talking to you guys for a while. I get that Steve Sarkisian is not going to air the program's dirty laundry in a press conference. I do not blame him for that. However, the laugh is a bad look. Laughing about a guy who's been in your program and played in 30-something games with 25 starts, having a pretty detailed opinion on culture and leadership and veterans establishing a program brand, that's a big freaking deal. And the laugh it's an off-putting deal and frankly makes you think that to some extent Ojomo got punished.
Here's the other part of his quote to tell you about what this kid, who this kid is, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Same kid, same media opportunity. I tell them and they don't believe me, Ojomo said. These young guys, when I told them that I want to win so bad and I'm literally thinking about y'all, when you don't think I'm thinking about you. When I walk into the tank and Morrow just wants to be alone, but I go sit next to you, it's not because I want to be next to you right now. It's because I want to win. The joy and the sweetness of it, too, by God's grace, it comes this year. When it happens, we're going to be talking, and I'm just not going to know how to process it, like feel it, because holy moly, you mean to tell me that we're doing this right now? I can't wait for that. It's going to be a great season. So he's not trashing his program. He's a guy who's literally saying, I wish everybody would focus the way
Sark get mad because Arch Manning saw that quote?
Well, not just Arch Manning.
No, but you know what I mean.
But sure.
Recruits.
Yeah, but I mean, listen. The kid may have just done – the young man, not a kid. The young man may have just done Sark a favor. You force a conversation.
Sure. Maybe that was the purpose, honestly.
You know, I mean,
hey, this is getting swept under the rug, and I don't have any time left. We got to do this now.
Yeah. And again, I'm not there. I don't cover Texas. I've never covered Texas. I don't pay a lot of attention to their program yet. So I can't speak to the culture inside the UT football building at all, and wouldn't attempt to. I mean, I cover Ole Miss, and I'm not sure I could completely speak to the culture inside that building. I think I have a better clue than the outsider would, but I don't know that I could sit here and pretend to be an expert on the culture inside the building. But it tells you, and you and I talked about this before we got started, it tells you so much. I honestly don't think we give Nick Saban enough credit. Because not only did he win, they keep winning. They keep winning the exact same way, and that is culture.
But I think it's easier once it's established.
Well,
it's the bicycle that continues to pedal at that point. Sure. Because once it's there and these freshmen have moved up and they've gone through the cycle and they've been the guys to go, hey, no, look, you do this, and when you do this, here's what happens on both sides.
Sure.
Well, it's just known. It's the actual changing the culture that is so hard, and it's why, like there was a video that made fun of it a couple days ago, and they're right. Like, we use culture way too much in college athletics. It's a dumb word in a lot of ways. For every coach in every press conference, hey, we're going to, if you lose, oh, I had a bad culture. Or if I win, oh, look, the culture's great there.
Well, when it's used as an excuse for accumulating talent.
Yeah, correct. Point being, though, it's very real. I mean, you look around, it's what Saban did and what he's maintained, and now the program is a machine where you just know coming in, and it allows these kids to go, hey, look, I worked my tail off. I might have to wait behind a guy or two, but hey, when it's my turn, I'm going to do it, and I'm the next guy holding the jersey on the stage with Goodell, and here we go down the road. I mean, Kiffin has focused on it in a way that they've taken on his personality. I mean, he's talked about, nope, it's buzzwords, but hey, no mindset. Here's what we're doing. And it even goes with the, hey, they gave us a standing ovation. We didn't win. Stop. That's right. We're not playing for the participation trophy here. That's a culture thing. That's talking to his players through the media and going, nope. That's not the purpose. Look,
J.J. Pegues had a media op yesterday. Transferred from Auburn. Had some interesting things to say about Brian Harson's staff, but that's another topic. J.J. Pegues was, I think, the third or fourth player at Ole Miss in these media things.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, just so you guys know, we've done these for so long that they're sort of mind-numbing sometimes.
Yeah. Your eyes glaze over.
You just sort of – third or fourth player this spring that's talked about championships. Referred to national championships. Now, do I think Ole Miss is winning a national championship this year? No, I do not. That's not the point. The point is that tells you that those words are being discussed inside that building. That when you're putting in the work, we're working for something other than just putting in the work.
Yeah, you're not setting an expectation of, oh, God, look at the clock up there. The Egg Bowl's in 322 days.
No, we're playing to win an SEC championship. We're playing to win a national championship, and that's the goal. The goal is not to win 7 games. The goal is to win a championship.
Yeah.
That's culture. That's culture.
Yeah, whether you do it or not is irrelevant.
But that's your goal.
Yeah.
That's the purpose that is our purpose. You go train for a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
If you know that the marathon is on October the 14th, okay, well, you're training for something. There's a purpose. If you're just out running and you're like, hey, I'm just running, and one day you kind of like, I don't feel like doing this. It's easy to quit.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like, today's the day I'm supposed to run 14 miles.
It's the only reason I run races. I don't give two craps about the actual race day.
Right,
but it gives a reason and a motivation to get out of bed the day before.
Sure, if you know, hey, today's the day, according to my training program, that I run 14 miles to prepare for the marathon on October the 14th, and I'm 4 miles in, and in my brain, and trust me, this happens. Yeah,
stop.
You're like, why am I doing this? This is so stupid. There's a game on, and I really kind of would like a beer right now. My knee hurts. You push through it because you're pushing for something.
Yeah.
Culture, to me, that's culture. And I think Sarkisian blew an opportunity to say, he's on to something.
That is what we're working
towards. That is what he's exactly right.
I appreciate him.
That's what we're working towards.
Yeah. He's seen it.
That's what you want, frankly, is a guy who's been in your program before you were even there, who's bought in, who's clearly bleeding burnt orange here. Who knows he's running out of time. You want your upperclassmen to be desperate. You do.
Yeah, we've seen that in the Ole Miss program before. Guys, no, you're screwing me up right now. This is my shot. Shut up.
He's talking to some 18-year-old five-star, not because he wants to hang out with him and be his buddy, but because, hey, you can help me get to where I'm trying to go. You can help.
Well, look, 2008, Parade Jerry was ready to absolutely kill everybody in the room. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, and it's, hey, no, I'm done. This is my last year. By God, now.
Well, I mean, I've talked about that. It was after a practice in preseason camp. See, I didn't say fall camp.
There you go. Good job.
In preseason camp, and I don't think they'd had a particularly good practice. That was
I remember this, yeah.
A super talented team that was mentally and emotionally broken.
Yes.
And it was Nutt's first season, and Nutt was doing a post-game deal with the team, talking to the team, and Parade Jerry interrupted him and stood up and read his teammates the riot act. And you could hear him all the way across the field saying, hey, why not listen to these guys? Nothing else worked. Why not give it a chance? They seem to be trying to help us. We need to listen to them. Let's just do what they say. Why not? I'm sick of this. I don't want to lose anymore. I remember that. I'm tired of losing. I think it was I'm effing tired of losing, but watering it down, it was I'm tired of losing. Houston, to his everlasting credit, was smart enough not to tell Parade to sit down until he was done. But it was, in fact, I think that was the end of it.
And then Parade started wearing the chain all the time. You go, whoa.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so, after that, I do think that was a turning point for them. So Ojomo here may have done Sarkisian a favor, but it appears that Sarkisian doesn't see it that way. Now, what happens inside the building, maybe he's not wanting to address it in the media and such, but.
Yeah, but don't act like you're negative toward his comments. Like, there's a way to even not address it without going, oh, he can't talk to you anymore. Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, no. Frankly, he should be your spokesperson for a while.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by Johnston Hill Creamery, small batch artisanal cheese and fermentation, charcuterie. They've got a bakery, catering, grazing tables, and much more. All their cheese made locally and in-house right here in Oxford, just off Molly Barra, White Oak Lane, 662-419-9201. Easter pre-orders start to be picked up tomorrow. That's the dessert box, the grazing box, or the carrot cake. It feeds 8 to 12, so you can call. You can order that now. Again, 662-419-9201, or check out their Instagram page at Johnston Hill Creamery.
We're also brought to you by The Rogue. It's your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylish hand-select pieces from top designers, from work to lifestyle to nightlife. There's the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue. All the best items from Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Halsey, True Grit, Duckhead, and so many more. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or therogue.com. Southern Traditions Farm has their summer camps starting up here fairly soon. May the 30th is the first one, goes through June the 4th. Another one on June 6th, June 12th, June 20th. Monday through Friday camps, 8:30 to 2 each day. For more information, contact Susan Walt, 601-278-7563. Don't forget, you can get in touch with them about hosting like senior parties and such. I think it was Jackson Academy. It may have been someone else. They had a big senior party out there. I'll have to ask Brian Rippey about the details.
That message board thread.
That was, by God, yesterday. That was maybe, in my 14 years, the most funny message board thread that I could not believe that the question was asked. And then it just, it's fantastic. Anyway, that's us, Southern Traditions Farm. You can also follow them on Instagram and Facebook and whatnot.
You okay there?
Someone thought it was serious. I mean, how do you not know just intrinsically that that's sarcasm? How? How do you function like
Brian
that?
Brian made a post intimating that Lane could potentially go to Jackson Academy to replace Lance Pogue. Brian has been known to make some MAIS jokes from time to time, and that was
but how would you not know that? It's just beyond me. I don't know how some people. Honestly, God, I'm not picking on anybody. I don't know how some people get through the day. You got to believe the world is out to get you to find that not sarcastic.
Yes.
I mean, are there places Lane Kiffin would leave Ole Miss for? Yes. Is Jackson Academy one? Obviously not. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm truly not. I know it comes across that way, and I apologize. We're brought to you by Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency. They've been connecting great job opportunities to candidates since 1967. Are you on the job hunt? If you are, whether you're seeking an entry-level position or you're a seasoned professional, they have opportunities across the board. Whether you're in IT, engineering, dentistry, accounting, law, manufacturing, human resources. I'm picturing Lane Kiffin teaching a world history class. And it's just raw comedy. Get in touch with the people at Service Specialist. It's Will, Sydney, Kelsey. If you're looking to find quality, hard-to-find talent, you should get in touch with them as well. 662-832-5138, or check out their new and improved website at servicespecialistltd.com. Don't just accept what you see, but imagine something new. Step forward and chase after a better version of yourself. Every day, Corinth Dental is helping people reinvent themselves one smile at a time. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Henry, he would teach world history, right? What else would Lane teach if he had to teach while he was the football coach?
I'll have to think about it. I don't know.
I mean, it would be something along those lines, right? Can you imagine Lane in front of his class every day? So today we're going to talk about World War I. You guys heard about the Archbishop? So he got shot.
We probably could get Lane to put a JA hat on. Well,
that would be fantastic.
Go through some stuff. Probably can figure that out.
Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures, including Invisalign. These clear aligners are the virtually invisible way to improve your smile. Call Corinth Dental today for a no-cost digital scan of your teeth. Let them show you the way to a straighter, healthier smile. 12 months, no interest, no down payment financing available at corinthdental.com. And we're brought to you by Bell & Grove, based out of Chattanooga. Daryl Oliver, Evan Dial built Bell & Grove. It's a logistics provider with more than 35 years of transportation industry experience. Bell & Grove specializes in domestic freight movement throughout the continental U.S. Bell & Grove can navigate through supply chain issues while also leaning on their partner carriers to get the most competitive rate possible for their customers. In addition, they can help customers design a custom solution for their shipping needs, whether your business is in need of moving a truckload, a partial shipment, or a flatbed. Bell & Grove can accommodate you. For more information, get in touch with Daryl Oliver at 865-672-6557. You know, there was a lot of talk about the picture with Lane at the party at the Perry's the other night for the pre-party for the Oxford prom.
Yeah.
All I could think about was how much money was Caroline could have had, because everybody had clearly gotten a spray tan.
Yeah.
It hasn't been that warm and sunny in Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-Oxford high school prom the last couple of years, Caroline brought bank.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, it was bank. It was a parade of girls up and down the stairs getting the spray tans, $40 pop. You'd hear that machine. That's all I could think about was the money lost. The people that tried to make that something it wasn't, like not Ole Miss people, like Tennessee people and whatever. No, that's silly. Come on.
I mean, 40 and Wilkin gave it time on their podcast this week.
What'd they say?
I think I hit the button.
I would hope not.
I don't know. I just saw Dan tweet it out. Frankly, for Ole Miss, it probably should be a positive because he took the time to do it. You've been wanting him to be ingrained a little bit in the community. And I get it was across the street. But
but he had to either walk a little bit or he had to get in his golf cart or something. Because it's not directly across the street. It's down the street a little bit.
I mean, 100 yards, but sure.
Yeah. But, I mean, he would have been. Well, how often do you walk 100 yards and go, "Hey, neighbor"?
Well, that's true. Yeah. So he had to. I mean, there was some motivation there. So yeah, it just shows you that literally everything he does is like this Twitter thing. Like it's. Mark Stoops does that, and it's not on that show yesterday.
No. Yeah, Lane could teach marketing, social media, maybe. I don't know if that's class at JA or not.
Who knows? Yeah, there was so many good things in that thread as far as just like little barbs there back and forth. I mean,
I would actually, I would pay to go in and take the world history class at JA with Lane teaching it. That would be fascinating. Wouldn't you love it? Seriously, it'd be great.
Government, economics.
Yeah, yeah. Today we talk about supply chain economics. Open your books to page 12.
Considerably no patience.
Not at all.
With anyone at this point.
When someone raises their hand, what?
Yeah.
I already went over that.
It
wasn't a scrimmage.
Yeah. Just
first, it wasn't a scrimmage.
Right. Just quickly, Nets knock out the Cavs 115-108 last night, and then the T-Wolves 109-104 against the Clippers. So you got your wish there with a Clippers loss.
Yep.
And then tonight, Charlotte at Atlanta. That is at 6, and the Spurs and the Pels in New Orleans at 8:30.
So if the Spurs-Pels winner beats the Clippers pick, which is 50.
Oh, you're not out yet? You got to lose again?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a play-in. So it's a 7, 8, 9, 10. So the 7, 8.
I hate this.
I do too. The 7, 8 winner
are automatically in the 7
gets
and 8.
the 7.
And then the 9, 10s play for the 9.
The 9, 10, the loser's out. The winner of the 9, 10 game has to beat the loser of the 7, 8 game.
Oh, so the winners aren't even in last night.
The winners are in.
Oh, okay.
From the 7, 8 game. The winner of the 9, 10 game has to win twice.
I see what you mean. So we're still only filling out 8 spots.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But what I was trying to tell you, the Clippers
could fall all the way to 10.
Could fall out, and if they do, their pick, which would be 15 if they make the playoffs,
I see what you
becomes the 12th pick. The Thunder own that pick. So the Thunder would have one of the first, I guess the Thunder could fall as low as 8 in the lottery.
So Brooklyn's guaranteed to be in.
Yes, they're the 7. Minnesota's the 7, and they will play Memphis in what promises to be absolute entertainment.
Okay.
Because the T-Wolves were talking trash last night.
Anthony Edwards with 30 last night.
Anthony Edwards is a star.
Yeah.
It's why when people go, the lottery doesn't matter. Yes, it does. You want the first pick.
Yeah. Paul George had 34 in the loss. Darius Garland had 34 in the loss.
Yeah.
So, anyway, okay. Ole Miss heading to Columbia this afternoon. They will play the Gamecocks tomorrow night. Remember, Eastern Time Zone, 6 noon, the Central Time Zone times for this weekend against South Carolina. Ole Miss has not released a starting rotation at this point.
Probably because they don't know one.
Yeah, I asked Mike about it yesterday because he was talking to Derek Diamond for a really long time before the media op, and he said that was not relevant to the weekend rotation. Then he was talking to him actually praising his leadership over the last few years. So, last few days. So that's up. I don't know. Again, Max Trophy story on the site, some more stuff coming, kind of where things went wrong and where it goes from here with Ole Miss baseball later as well. And come check out rebelgrove.com in the meantime. Have a good day. Talk to you soon.